Jack, you're a bastard.
Before we get into the conversation between these two, I want to play a couple of videos that are referenced throughout the live stream here and hit on a few of these points here. So let's go.
Just because something is out and they hype it doesn't make it credible or reputable. It just makes it another agenda. To me, Akai has an agenda to do what they need to do. I don't think they have the same agenda they used to have, where they were really once into making stuff that sound immaculate, that made us sound like, I mean, you know, I'm not saying you the best producer or beat maker, but when you had a machine from Akai, it made you sound good. Even if you didn't make the best beats, it sounded good. The sonics of it, that kick and snare, when you hit it, you're like, woo! All you had to do was just work on your skill level now, because you knew it was going to sound good. Now you're just making all kinds of stuff and it's just not sounding good. You got to do a bunch of stuff just to make it sound good.
The sonics within the MPC just are not what they used to be. If you're charging all this money and you're continuously bumping up the price, there's no reason on a standalone unit you should have to connect it to another device in order to get that saturation or that depth, that richness of sound that you're looking for. And that is a huge argument between the community. So I just wanted to point that out real quick before we get into some of these other videos.
You know, it's crazy how you can speak on something and you open up the Pandora's box. I spoke on Akai Pro with the MPC X SE. I was just giving an honest feedback on what's going on with Akai, and this has been going on for years, man. And if you don't believe what I'm saying, let's talk to the creator right now. Let's see what the creator has to say about Akai and what happened to Roger Lynn. Let's let him speak for a second.
Unfortunately, in the late 90s, the Akai company had some problems, and they were bought by the American company Newmark. And unfortunately, the head of that company is a real bastard named Jack O'Donnell, who immediately stopped my royalties on this. And I tried to contact him, and he had a secretary give me lies that he was out of the country and couldn't be reached and things like that. And then he had his lawyers sent me threatening letters, when in fact he was the one who was stopping my payments. And it's basically lawyer bullshit where they try to intimidate you. And it worked. I basically didn't want that sort of energy in my life, so I just backed off. But that's Newmark, Jack O'Donnell of Newmark. So remember that every time you buy a Newmark product. I think he actually bought Alesis as well in a fire sale, but I'm not sure. But if you look at the address of the companies, they're all the same, and then you can find out that way. But I know he's got Newmark. So anyway, Jack, you're a bastard.
When you go to Kai's website here, you click on the company and go to About Us, and here it goes. It takes you straight to InMusic, and the owner of InMusic here, Jack O'Donnell, the very man that Roger Lynn was speaking about here. I'm not going to go into the detail and read about all this stuff. Links are in the description. You could look it up on your own. I just think it's interesting here that all this stuff taking place the way that it is. He was essentially the creator of the MPC and locked out of his own brand pretty much moving forward. Once again, the links are in the description. You could read all about him, and we'll get into that in a second here, so let's go.
So as you can see, Roger Lynn got done very, very dirty. The person that created the MPC, the founder, and he gets done like that, and you think for 1 second that Akai Pro has the best of the consumer's interests. Now, no, I'm a loyal MPC buyer too. So a lot of people might be a little upset, feeling like I'm just ranting and I'm just going in, but I'm a buyer too. I got every MPC that's ever been made by Akai. So trust me, this hurts me to have this conversation with y'all. But it's obvious that a lot of y'all are delusional. A lot of y'all just are working on beats for hobbies. I do this for real, so it's very personal to me. I want to see Akai go to the next level. I don't want to see them continue to poorly downgrade something that was legendary, and then you attach 35 history Well, why you didn't bring Roger Lynn back to the picture?
A few people got upset over him saying that he does this for real, and you know, the implication there isn't meaning that anybody else who's not doing it at the level that he's doing it isn't doing it for real. We'll just leave that part out of the conversation for now and just get into this real quick. 35th anniversary of the MPC. So if you go to their page, they have it all listed here. 35 years ago in 1988, artists such as Eric B. and Rakim, Rob Bass and DJ East Rock, EPMD, and to the legendary sound of Dr. Dre and NWA were changing the airwaves, bringing the sound of hip-hop to the mainstream. Now right away they're making it clear, celebrating 35 years, MPC started and was built from hip-hop. The sound of hip-hop was a mixture of sampled drum chops and melodies sampled directly from vinyl. That same year, Akai Professional / Roger Lynn debuted the very first MPC, the MPC XSE. At least they're mentioning his name. This one pivotal moment transformed the sound of hip-hop and electronic music forever, introducing a new fusion of genres such as New Jack Swing, Boom Bap, to the deep soulful sound of Chicago House. 35 years later, hip-hop has become the biggest and most influential genre, with the MPC at the forefront of its DNA. Acknowledgement right there. The 50th anniversary of hip-hop is approaching. During the time that they're celebrating 35 years, it is clear from what they make mention that they owe their lifeblood to hip-hop. I just wanted to point that out real quick. Here's the other point where they mentioned Roger Lynn here. That year also saw the introduction of an MPC by Akai Professional and Roger Lynn. The MPC XSE delivered an intuitive platform that streamlined the music production process with an efficient sampling and sequencing workflow, so they're at least giving Roger Lynn a shout out here. And here is the Jermaine Dupri video. We'll get into that in a second.
Why did you not bring Roger Lynn back into this so he can be a part of this legacy that he created, that y'all stripped from him? Now you're stripping the kids an opportunity to understand what sound is. I have some people hit me like, well, I don't understand. My MPC X, it sounds great. Boom, boom, boom. To you. Because it's obvious, if you think the X sound good to you, it's obvious you haven't A-B'd it towards stuff that really, really sounds great. And that's okay. I'm not here to belittle nobody. I'm here to educate you on sound, because when you haven't did it at the highest level, you're going to think that everything sounds good. When you really are in the game, you start playing like you in the game. You start taking things personal. You start wanting the best for the game. We've gotten away from the sound to let's have the cute buttons and the big screens and the color lights and the faders going across the stage. That's cool. I'm not against that. But music is about sound. So how do we get so caught up in workflow and don't remember the key thing that we're trying to sell people that want to buy our records is sound? Why you think Marvin Gaye and NWA and Public Enemy and Lauryn Hill and Outkast and Dr. Dre and Kanye, early stuff, and all of these people that we looked up to, why they stuff sounds so great? It was sound. That's why it has playback value. A lot of these records today won't have playback value because they're not recorded right, because they don't understand sound, and because they've allowed people like Akai to shift the narrative to workflow.
This is not just a guy who's talking about these younger kids and just get off my lawn about this music thing here. He has an invested interest in this industry. And to that point, I will make another one that there's a reason why it is so difficult nowadays to get put on or even do something to where you're getting placements on a regular basis. And one of those big qualities that people look for, and one of the things that is slipping in a lot of music, is the sound quality, the sonics, the dynamics. These things actually matter. And for those who are proficient in their craft, who obtain these items, what they do, they end up plugging them into other things in order to make them sound the way that they should. The argument here is that we shouldn't have to do that. As consumers of of these electronic musical instruments, these groove boxes. These are supposed to be, in theory, something that is sonically sounding great, and that's what you want. And that is something that a lot of these companies are completely slipping on.
When you do see my MPC X, I'm running it through a Triton 68 board console with capacitors and transistors in there that make stuff sound amazing. So I could take their sound and take it to another level. But my problem is I shouldn't have to do all of that when I used to be able to get an MPC and it sound amazing out the box. That's the problem I'm saying. How do you charge these high prices for something that don't cost y'all nothing to make? If that don't make sense to y'all, then nothing will ever make sense. And God bless you. I hope you pray for discernment.
And that is what is at the heart of the argument for a lot of people here. The sound quality, the sonics, the dynamics are just not there, and they haven't been there for a very long time. And seemingly what it sounds like from these companies is that they have no interest in even pursuing that type of thing. So there's something to be said about that. But let's get into one more video real quick.
I sold my 3000 many years ago because technology had moved on so much.
3000, I personally believe that the 3000, something in the 3000 pumps the beat out harder. The 3000, I personally believe that the 3000, something in the 3000 pumps the beat out harder. Now, I don't know what that could be, but I just know when I used to hit the beat on the 3000, it just sounded so much louder, and it sounded like it had so much more force behind it. It made my R&B records sound like rap records.
I feel like I've been real honest with y'all, you know? I don't think that I've been really mean-spirited. I just think that when you're talking honest and people get in their feelings, they take it like you're just being mean-spirited. And I'm really not being mean-spirited because it's nothing for me to be mean-spirited about. I have all of their stuff. I feel like I'm helping to inspire them to step their game up. I had a lot of people saying, man, you know, they gonna be hating on you, Ski. I said, they're a company, they know how to do good business. Well, wrong. I turned to somebody's page, Andy Mack, who runs a lot of the stuff for Akai.
I sold my 3000 many years ago.
And what do I see? I'm blocked. And I'm like, wow, Andy? Once again, Andy is proving my point. If you don't be their yes man and you don't like all their product and you don't agree with what they doing, they will bully you, just like they did Roger Lynn. Hey, Roger Lynn has these ideas. Oh, you know what? Let's get rid of Roger. Let's cut him out the picture. So you're gonna block me. But this is the funny thing with Andy Mack. I thought we were cool. We had a great rapport. We would always talk at the NAM. He'd be on my Instagram all the time, stalking my page. Oh, Ski, this beat is crazy. This beat is crazy. This beat is crazy. One day, he liked one of my beats. He like, Ski, I would love to play Talkbox on there. I mean, he was bugging me and bugging me and bugging me to death to play Talkbox. And I was like, I got you, Andy. Listen to the track. Yeah, that's Andy Mack that I let him do the Talkbox on my record. A platinum Grammy producer, I allowed this guy to get some of my platform to help him with his Talkbox.
Now, here's something that I was completely unaware of going into the discussion, and I'm sure a lot of people were unaware of as well. The direct interaction between these two, it's a lot deeper than just one person trolling another over a specific feature or a lack of power or a lack of sound. There is an actual relationship here between these two people. So I just wanted to point that out real quick.
That don't matter. When you're not saying what they want you to say, get out of here. But that proves my point, y'all. If you don't agree with them, they will shut you down. They've been doing this for years, bullying people, giving y'all the same stuff over and over and over again, and y'all get caught up by the machines and the colors and all of these things that y'all falling for.
Yeah.
It seemed like the community with the X is like there weren't any yearnings for anything more. It seems to be such an established form factor.
The X really did break the boundaries of technology, and when you look at the X today, you know, the thing that we wanted to do was make sure that we represent the 35 years of the brand and the format, but also increase the capacity of like the RAM, because it's a very important thing with all of the instruments now.
I think that's one thing that a lot of people here are missing out of the point of the MPC XSE Special Edition. It is really just to close the chapter and give credence to the MPC X that has been the flagship for all this time. They're clearly going to move on in the future, but as far as the representation goes, it's everything that their flagship was, plus a little bit of extra and the retro color that everybody wanted. Yes, it still doesn't have the sound that a lot of people really inspire to achieve when it comes to actually pursuing music. But one thing to consider here is that this wasn't a new breakthrough piece. It was just mostly paying homage to the existing flagship while closing a chapter and beginning a new one.
And they just laughing. Oh, we could keep selling them the same thing over and over and over again. So Andy's not mad at me for me being E-A Ski. He's mad that I'm being truthful to the people like y'all about how they operate and run their business. So to all you content creators that created for Akai and got all of these free gifts, these Akai MPC XSEs, please don't make Andy mad, because he's going to come take it from you.
One thing that I wanted to mention in this video is that I do appreciate Akai for reaching out to some of these content creators who have been promoting and selling their products for all these years and hooking them up with the MPC XSE. I know not all of them got them for free, and there's different people and different levels of content creators under different circumstances and different exchanges being made. I did see Sarah Tuell's unboxing under Akai's official video, as well as IAMSIGHT do his official video as well. I just wanted to point out here that I appreciate the fact that they have reached out to those who have supported them all these years and hooked them up with the MPC XSE in appreciation for what they've done. No matter what the exchange, I think that was good of them to do, and they didn't have to do that. So I just wanted to mention that real quick. Now, before we get into the main video, I want to play some of this and hit a couple points on here just so we have the entire context moving into the main conversation. This is the Dad Beats podcast. This is on just about every Sunday here, and this is some of the conversation that was being referenced here during the main conversation between IAMSIGHT and E-A Ski. So let's listen in here.
We are talking about the aftermath of the MPC XSE major release, or nah. As a lot of the viewers on my channel know, I did get an advanced unit. A lot of the I guess you can call them bigger channels in the space got an advanced unit. And that caused some controversy, which was very interesting. We'll get into that. MPC Gang has been on fire, the Facebook group, a lot of different, I guess you can call them controversies in there. But it has started a lot of interesting conversations about things like sound quality, as well as influencers being tainted, maybe? Beats Crates chimed in. He said, I agree with E-A Ski on the MPC. We're going to get into that a little bit. You're part of the Zounds Partner Program, so you did have an X. How would you say, you know, as far as, you know, the whole experience of like unboxing it and messing with the SE, how did it compare to you to other releases?
I got this one brand new and it didn't have any special box. Well, I'm used to, like, you know, I have a MPC Live 2, and both lives that I had, they both came with, like, you know, like its own kind of like box.
There were no graphics on the box whatsoever. It was
there was no graphics on the box. It was just like a plain box. It didn't have any of the inserts or whatever. So it's like, it was kind of like underwhelming for me to like unbox it. There's no physical difference, but the internal differences, I do think like kind of make a difference. So
I didn't know if it was just the advanced units came like that. So
Yeah.
I wasn't sure what everybody else's experience was going to be. It would have been nice to, you know, because all my,
Yeah.
even my touch came with like a cool graphic box or whatever. So I don't know what that was about. You know, the one thing you would say with a special edition, you kind of would expect more frills, right? Like when you
Yeah.
you buy like a deluxe edition video game or something like Call of Duty Deluxe Edition, it's got like a metal.
that's got a
package
hard
and-
case and it's got
Yeah.
like little stuff in it. Like I bought like the Modern Warfare one, and it came with like little patches and stuff, and it
Yeah.
like extra pins and
extra
stuff.
swag and stuff, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
And while that's not the biggest of deals here, there is something to be said over a special edition without any kind of limited packaging. One of the whole things about special editions, no matter what we're talking about here, is usually within some kind of extravagant packaging. So it is kind of weird that they excluded that, but kind of, you know, par for the course when you take a few things into consideration here. And speaking of par, I mentioned in my other video a few times, it was just clipped from the live. I mentioned about that they had to bring the MPC X up to par. What I meant by that was up to par as far as the level of their current MPCs. I didn't mean up to par is what it should be or what people should want, because it's definitely not up to par for the cost and for the year that we're in, the capabilities that we have technologically speaking. So it's definitely not up to par sonically, but it's up to par with the level that they're looking at as far as their line of product is concerned. So I just wanted to make that distinction real quick. So let's go.
I saw a video where the dude just kept saying, but I can't get over, where's my box, man? I'm just gonna say it like this, and this is not like trying to flex. None of the guys who received one needed it. Nobody had to like tap dance around this release. Nobody had to say, oh, it's great, you should go get it, because we all can go get it ourselves. The fact that Akai reached out and sent it to a handful of us, was just an awesome gesture.
And to kind of reiterate my point from earlier, something that he just touched down on, it is quite the gesture, especially because a lot of these guys here, they didn't need this piece, but to have it is something that that they definitely wanted, and you know, giving it to them regardless of the exchange is definitely something to be considered, regardless on how things turn out in the future. It's definitely a decent gesture, and good on Akai for doing that.
Personally, what I think happened, why there's all, you know, a lot of this backlash is coming on this MPC release. These channels that are putting out clickbaity stuff and kind of like super rumor channels, they're not doing anybody any favors. You know what I'm saying? They're not doing us any favors as consumers. Like, you know, we try to keep, I know I try to keep my expectations limited, because right now, keep it a buck, like nobody's challenging Akai. Like there's nobody making real like units that are challenging the MPC line right now.
Machine is the only one that's close.
The closest,
you know?
yeah,
they're the
closest.
closest.
They have one. They have one MPC Plus, as compared to there's 8 active MPCs in the MPC ecosystem right now.
And that's another point here to be considered. With the lack of competition that is out there as far as your actual groove boxes go, where is the incentive to do better? Sonically speaking, if you're operating at a level that's better than, say, like FL Studio or something like that, that's all you really need to move forward and really capitalize on the market. I'm not saying that it's right, but there's no real drive for Akai as far as the return on investment. There's no real incentive to do it other than to appease a specific portion of their market share, and they're just simply not motivated to do that at this point.
There was like 50 posts in MPC Gang about I'm not buying it, I'm not buying it. We communicate what we like and what we don't like with our wallets. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So just by not buying it, you're gonna send a message to the company that you're not interested in it. So I don't know, it's just not necessary to kind of go crazy off the top, you know, bashing the product. Let's talk about price real quick, right? This MPC X SE was $2,500. And people were kind of like, oh, I can't believe it's so expensive. I like good quality converters. I do sound design, but everybody doesn't do sound design. Everybody doesn't need premium converters in an MPC.
Yeah.
Would it be nice? Yeah. But when we started looking at price,
hold on to your butts now.
$3,500 in 1993 is worth $7,300 today.
Yeah.
So that means that MPC 3000, when it came out, in today's money, would have costed $7,300. I don't know how many of y'all are in a rush to go out and buy a $7,300 MPC.
And therein lies the reason why I didn't have an MPC growing up, and why a lot of people around me didn't have an MPC growing up.
You're talking
don't
about
realize
almost
that.
3 times as much.
Yeah.
You got guys out here talking about, oh, you know, you need top of the line converters. When you do an analog signal path, it costs a lot of money. So now you're talking about upgrading, you know, again, some people might feel like it's worth it, but you have to think about from Akai's perspective, does it make sense to give people premium converters for an additional $800, $1,000, whatever, when they're going to go and they're going to need $2,000 to $3,000 interface just to use those converters? I'm hearing guys make is, oh, they're selling MPCs now based on workflow. Let me tell y'all something, man. The reason Akai went out of business is because the workflow could not keep up with DAWs and computers.
With DAWs, for sure.
It wasn't because of the quality. So when you see guys talking about, oh, this is, they're selling MPCs based on workflow. Fam, what do you, of course.
Cooking Soul, he just did a video on the SE saying that, hey, you know, I love my classic MPCs. I still use them, but for day to day, like he said, he does this stuff for a living. Now I do this for a living, so I use my X because my X gets the stuff done that I need to get done, because the workflow is way more.
It's the best MPC ever.
Yeah.
He said flat out, and that's Cooking Soul. And he's not shilling. These are people who are using these units. We already love them. Yeah. We already make thousands of dollars with these MPCs. That's the other thing people are missing. These guys are making a lot of money with their MPC.
Yeah.
Why would they bash the main tool that they like to use? The guys that are making the most noise about the sound quality and stuff like that, they're not thinking like you and me. They're, you know, a lot of these guys who are talking about, you know, who are making a big fuss about sound quality and you know, the problems with the workflow, they're not using their MPC like me and you. They're tracking out to $100,000 mixing board. They're using $10,000 monitors. Most of us are in a room, a spare room, a bedroom, whatever. Yep. We're using our MPC, running into a DAW and like a $400 or $500, $1,000 interface. And again, I'm saying most. So when you look at someone who's trying to critique these units and who's using $100,000 worth of gear to get it into their computer, they're not thinking in your best interest because they're not like you.
Unless you're doing this professionally and have acquired this gear over time. Marcus Elbow in the building, he says, like, the end user doesn't care about converters, bro. Most producers don't care or even know about converters. You know what I'm saying? It's because we just trying to make music. It's kind of always like the old school versus the new school. Like, the game has really changed and it's went into a different direction.
It's
I kind of get
efficiency.
Yeah. I don't
like we're competing with FL producers and Logic producers who can do a lot of things with a couple clicks of the mouse,
and they're banging this stuff out like crazy. Not all of it. Not all of it is quality. We understand that, but you do, even in that instance of these producers banging stuff, you do get like a gem in there.
This kind of brings me back to the point that I was making earlier as far as the quality of sound is concerned. Just being a step up from FL Studio, that's all they need to do here in order to set themselves apart. And in my opinion, I think Akai has effectively achieved that. The question here now goes to the actual sonics of it all, the actual dynamics. You still have to affect these changes and run it through your own gear in order to bring it up to level. And the question is whether or not you should have to do that in a standalone music production tool.
I'm gonna bring up a comment real quick that I wasn't even gonna speak on, but I really like I St. James. Now, I wasn't gonna speak on anybody's name, but you brought him up. E-A Ski really hit the nail on the head with it. And funny enough, he got blocked from speaking the truth. If everyone spoke the truth, that wouldn't happen. The power has to be taken back. Couple things I want to address there, bro. And I say this super respectfully. We've always had the power. We're the consumers. We're the people buying this gear. If we don't buy it, they won't make it anymore. We've always had the power. If something doesn't sell, Akai bounces. The Touch had all these issues. They cut the Touch in like a year. Touch
it was done. Because people hated it.
The reason E-A Ski got blocked is because he's harassing the marketing guy for Akai. Like, Andy Mack is the marketing. He wears like a lot of hats in the company, but Bro, he's not picking out the converters. He's not building the machines. He's showing y'all how to use the MPC. He's making relationships with artists and content creators and stuff. He's a marketing guy, bro. He's not the guy, you know, choosing these parts on these MPCs, like picking the converters. And nah, bro, that's a whole nother department. So what E-A Ski was doing was he kept like bringing up Andy Mack and screenshotting his stuff. And I'm like, you're attacking the person who has nothing to do with the technical insides of these units. So why are you trying to make a spectacle with the marketing guy?
Now, even though this fits the textbook definition of the term harassment, I don't feel that it really applies here, especially considering the close relationship that E-A Ski and Andy Mack previously had, especially during the development of the Renaissance here. So I'm not a part of MPC gang. I'm not in their Facebook. I'm not in the chat. So I can't really speak on it one way or another. It's just when you start getting into these terminologies and these phrases like harassment or whatever, there's a pretty fine line, and we shouldn't really go there as far as things go. Like I said, it could be textbook definition, but is that really what's going on here? Is he really being harassed, or just something that is being brought up in this whole thing over being blocked? I think the context was taken out of this whole situation as far as the specifics of this detail goes, but I didn't have this going in. I had no idea the relationship with E-A Ski and Andy Mack prior to this, so I just took IAMSIGHT's word into consideration.
So he got blocked from Andy's account, but E-A Ski is like, nobody's blocking him, bro. Like, he's in MPC gang. He's still free to say whatever he wants. Like, he's a value member of the community.
Yeah.
So I would never say like, oh, I'm banning this guy. Like, nah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to say never, because it gets to a point where, bro, if your whole angle is drama, this is not the place for you. You know what I'm saying? I treat MPC gang and I treat my community, you know, that I'm a part of, like a club. When you're in the club, you just try to drink, have a good time, chill, do a little two-step. If somebody's being all rowdy and causing all this drama in the VIP section, you're going to ask them to leave. I don't like bringing people's name up because I don't know E-A Ski. I never met him personally. And I just know the points that he's been making lately. There's a lot of holes in it. And I've just been trying to address like the holes in it. And again, I don't know that he said this, but trying to say us who have been active in this community, making tutorials for y'all, making groups for y'all, you know what I'm saying? Making cool stuff for y'all to rock. Yeah, I get money from it, but I do it because I love it. I make way more money in real estate. The point that I'm making is, it's not that I'm like, I'm rich, I don't need this. I appreciate every bit of support. But the point is, I've been putting in the work. These guys who have in the community, these guys who've been sent these MPCs recently have been putting in the work in the community. It's a gamble every time we post something. So for somebody who doesn't post any videos for the community, who doesn't do any tutorials, think about how much he could be teaching the community if he did videos about, you know, how to sequence stuff, how to make your drums hit harder, what equipment you should get. Make those videos first, then get back to us about what Akai is doing wrong. Because right now, you don't have roots in this community and helping people. You know what I'm saying? And there's nothing we can look at and say, oh, this guy's been going hard for us.
Now, I'm going to have to disagree here with IAMSIGHT on that particular point when it comes down to it, especially with somebody like E-A Ski, who's not only a legend in the game, who has been MPC gang and owns every single one of these MPCs that exists out there, including the current generation. Not only that, having direct involvement in the development of the MPC Renaissance, and then this connection with Andy Mack.
Reason all these influencers, whatever you want to call them, like Bolo and Ad McCree and Marlo Diggs, the reason they got sent these units is because they have credibility in the community, because they put in the work and done stuff that they didn't get paid for, but it built their channel up to a point, but the community rocks with them.
Now, I will agree with Sight on this point here. And again, that's why I give mad props to Akai, regardless of the exchange or what is being offered. it was good of them to do that, to give them to those who are active and who are involved in the community and have been all this time for no pay, mind you. I think a lot of this conversation has to do with the separation between the industry and independent, the beat maker versus producer, and a lot of things that fall between the cracks of that. So we're just going to move on here. I got the links in the description, so go ahead and feel free to watch those. Let's get into the main conversation here that happened.
Very important guest in the house today. We have the almighty E-A Ski, and he was gracious enough to jump in today and have a conversation with me about some of the things that have been going on in the community, and more specifically, things that I said yesterday on the Dad Beats podcast, which, you know, I'll definitely get into kind of where my motivations were for that, and, you know, we'll go from there. But I definitely wanted, you know, to let you know that, you know, from the gate, it's all respect. You're a well-respected member of the community. And I got to say, from what I said yesterday, just kind of seeing what I said, when I said it, I know in my heart there was a lot of respect and a lot of, it wasn't meant to be disrespectful or anything like that. But when I look back on it, when I saw your video and you were kind of showing you watching it, I could kind of see where I was like, I could have said that better, right? So there were definitely, the way I phrased things, it was mixed. There was definitely compliments in there because, you know, nobody can take anything away from what you've done in the hip hop community, in the producer community. But I thought it was important to clarify in this conversation to the audience, really just where we stand on you know, on different issues with the MPC, and then also, you know, make it clear that there's nothing but respect between me and you. Like I don't have any, I never had any intention of you know, trying to diss you or anything like that. And I hope to the audience that watched it didn't come across as that, but it was important for me to lead with that and let the audience know that I highly respect this man. I haven't met him. I'm really honored to meet you now and have a good conversation. And I appreciate you being, you know, such a level-headed individual and hit me up and, you know, just in the way you did. So I want to welcome you to the show and thank you for that.
Salute, man. I want to appreciate the fact that this is what it really takes, is for people to have conversation. A lot of people don't have conversations, so they have assumptions. And when you have platforms, it could get very, very delicate if we don't address these things that people can assume that might not even be true. But, you know, so I just love the fact that you're open to talk, because I've never ran from a conversation ever. I come from an era of we got to talk like men, or else it's just cowardly.
Now, regardless on differing points of view or whatnot, that is the main takeaway of this, that these two men got together almost immediately and hashed this out in a very public, respectable manner, and regardless on the differences between the groups or what was worked out in the end, that is the main takeaway from this conversation, is being able to actually have it in a respectful manner. So big up to these two for handling things like men, and that is just something that we need in this game a lot more so than we currently have. So
let's address the issues you had with what I said on the podcast yesterday, and then we can kind of, you know, branch out into you know, what my motivations were behind certain things, and then also my perspective, because I think that's important for you to talk to you about how I'm seeing things and why I'm seeing them that way. But first, I just want to address what were the specific issues you had with the things I was saying yesterday on the podcast?
Well, the first issue was, you know, you went into a whole conversation about saying, well, you know, Ski got blocked because he's harassing the manager. He's harassing Andy. He's just the marketing guy and blah, blah, blah. And you was going on this whole rant. And I said, where's this? Where is a conversation of me talking to Andy about converters? I've never had a conversation with Andy about converters. Andy has always been a guy that come to NAMM. He shows the product. Me and Andy's talked about drums. He's talked about my drums and loving my drums. He's talked to me about helping him with his talk box, which if you see the post that I just posted up, you know, he's on one of my songs that he asked me to be on about talk box. He's just asked me just before NAMM, 2023 NAMM, he's hit me about what kind of compressor and EQ he should have. You know what I'm saying? So him being blocked, him blocking me is not because of me harassing him. He blocked me because he feels that I'm a threat to what they're doing right now. I'm going against what they're selling right now. So that's the block.
And even more conversations become apparent when it comes to the relationship between E-A Ski and Andy Mack. Him being blocked from a conversation is one thing, but when they have this relationship and this history together to where just as recent as a few months ago, they were speaking about things.
We have a relationship. It has nothing to do with converters. It has nothing to do with sound. It has to do with the fact that he's pushing something, and I'm telling people the truth about something that we've been talking to Akai about for over 10 years now when we worked on the MPC RAN. See, people don't know the history of what I have with Akai. So they're just making up statements, and you don't even know my history with Akai. So when you said that, I'm said, bro, where you getting this information from? Because that's not what happened.
And that's what I meant earlier when I said that E-A Ski isn't all get off my lawn about the sound quality or the sonics, the dynamics of the MPC. He has a vested interest and a long history with Akai, having these discussions time and time again throughout a decade's worth of time. So it's a bigger deal than what is being considered here. It's not just him in this generation. It is other guys in his generation, the Gen X guys, the legacy people, the people that Akai uses to prop out their merchandise, Jermaine Dupri, Timbaland, Scott Storch, all the people that they use, the producers they use to sell their product. They've all had a history in developing these products along with Akai over the years. It's not just a bunch of old guys that are outdated talking about how things were back in their day. There is a vested interest in the current market and development of things. It's a lot bigger deal than just the previous generation having something to say about the current generation.
And that's
can I speak on that? I like to speak on where I got the information from. Now you said something in your video which was very true. You was like, yo, he doesn't even follow me talking about me. And I don't. I'm not big on Instagram. I really don't follow a lot of people. I haven't seen a whole lot of your content, and a lot of the things I was talking about yesterday were based off of your YouTube presence. You know, we'll get into that later, like as far as the roots in the community part, because I feel like that needs to be cleared up too. I really didn't like the way I said that. But what I can honestly say about the Andy situation, and this is my perspective of it, because I don't know y'all, you know, inner workings of y'all relationship, but I have a group, you know, I have a group on Facebook, you know, there's 26,000 people in there at this point. And my main primary objective with that group is to have a healthy place for us as producers to go. It's not just about Andy. If somebody did it to you, what you were doing with, what you did was you shared a screenshot of Andy blocking you, right? And if a member of the community shared a picture of you blocking them, and then they went in the group, and again, with 26,000 people, and they made a post, I'm gonna take that down, because they're you know, and again, this is not anybody. It doesn't matter who it is. If they posted something about somebody who has status or has a reputation in the community, and they made a post about, you know, their own personal interactions, I would take it down regardless, because it doesn't really fit the format of the group. Once you post a picture of somebody blocking you, it's kind of taking a jab at them. So that's the way I saw it. You know, when I say harassment, that's if somebody did that to you, I'd be like, why are you harassing that man? That's just my natural. That's the way I'm gonna look at it. So I just want to be clear on that point. I don't know the details of your interactions. I'm literally going off of what you posted and what I've seen from you. And I haven't seen a whole lot from you, but the few things I was seeing were not what the group is about. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So it was important for me to clarify that with you, because I don't have a whole lot of context of the type of stuff that you put out, but the stuff that I was seeing in the group was just, it wasn't it.
I totally understand where you're coming from, but I think it's a different circumstances. I think that this is the MPC gang. This is a group. We're all buyers into Akai. I'm a buyer, right? So if I have a suggestion that I make to them, and I'm talking from a perspective of a consumer. And Akai has gotten to the point where they're at the king of the hill, to the point where you're not gonna listen. So the first thing you do is block. I have to let these people know. You gotta understand, I have a lot of people that hit me and say that Akai's customer service is terrible. They can't get stuff fixed. They can't get this going. So if I make a request that, man, we've been asking you for sound since, this is my post. Now, it wasn't directed towards Andy. Because my
But it was his name.
No.
So you can't say it's not directed if it's his
no,
name.
listen to what I'm saying.
Yeah.
My actual post that I made selling water to a dolphin was my initial post that I made, saying that Akai is selling the same brand over and over to dolphins that's already in water. That was the initial post that made Andy feel like he needed to block me because I was going against what they were doing. That's where the block came from. It wasn't that I dissed Andy. I was just talking to Akai, the brand in general, like I always talk to them. Like, hey, I have a post from 6 years ago when they started the X. And if you go on my YouTube, it's saying the same thing. Hey, I don't know what this X is going to sound like, but I really hope that they step the sound up because the MPC REN is lacking in the sound. This is stuff I've been saying for over the last 10 years with these guys.
Now, I think there's a bit of modesty here when he's talking about being just simply a consumer, especially with the prior business relationship that they had in development of the Renaissance and everything. So there's a little bit more gravity when it comes to an active player in the game. And for those who don't believe me, if they have any friends in the industry, you could talk to them about their interaction with these companies.
My conversation has not changed. It's been very consistent. The reason why I use the platform MPC Game, because everybody's hit me about the complaints of not being able to tell Akai what they want, this and that. So I show when I say whatever I want to say, you want to block me instead of having a conversation. Andy's a personal friend of mine. So you took it personal to block. So that means that, well, what do you do to all these other people that's been telling me that this is what y'all do? Because my job as a mentor and an OG is to give y'all the truth. Now, it's a double-edged sword for me, because if I'm too vocal, I'm harassing. If I don't say anything, the OGs don't help us. You can't, you can't have it both ways.
Now, I'll definitely speak to this point here just because of not only my age, but the people around me around the same age and having the same kind of conversation take place time and time again. You're talking people who are developed in their musical craft. These companies reach out to these artists every time they're developing these instruments because they want to see how they apply and what these people who actually make the music for a living think about them and what they feel about them, because if they're using it, if they're working it, they're going to be able to sell it to the populace.
I'm gonna challenge you on this, Ski.
That's fine.
I'm gonna challenge you on this. The reason I'm gonna challenge you on it is because, all right, again, I'm gonna put the shoe on the other foot.
Yes,
if I saw a community member, if you blocked them because you didn't, maybe you didn't like what they was talking about, you just not feeling their energy and you blocked them, and then they go on my group and they say, oh, look at this, look at this guy blocked me. This is what you get for telling the truth about E-A Ski. I'm gonna take that down because I'm like, fam, don't try to get energy off of somebody else. That's my initial.
But let me stop you right there real quick. I just want to stop you right there. I don't mind if you take that down because that's your platform. I didn't have a problem with you taking anything down. This is your platform. You have every right to do whatever you want to do. I'm not attacking you for you.
And you saw that in the comment, right? I said take, if you have personal beefs, please put it on your platform. Yeah.
But listen to what I'm saying though. I don't have a problem with that. My job is to let my people understand these are the things that I'm trying to do for us to get better stuff from them, and you get blocked. You felt like this wasn't the place for it. That's fine. That don't bother me. I'm not coming at you because of you taking anything down. That's your platform. Do whatever you want to do. I'm coming at you because you said that's why I got blocked, because I was harassing. That's a lie.
Yeah. So I made a mistake on the motivation behind the blocking, because I don't know about that. But I'm gonna challenge you on the harassment part. Because, bro, you have a picture of that man with a bozo wig on a thumbnail on your channel. You don't have a small platform, bro. You have 60-something thousand followers on Instagram, you have a pretty sizable platform. So when you put somebody's face with a clown nose and all that stuff on it, bro, that comes across as harassment. I mean,
what are we talking about here? Come on. I mean, we're all big boys. We don't need to go down this rabbit hole of nonsense. It's a crazy narrative when it comes down to it. I don't think that anything that he did should be construed as harassment. And even though I wasn't on the Facebook group to see it directly, having seen the videos and listening to the man speak in their prior relationship together, it's not really harassment as much as it is a difference of opinion and a fact of the matter that he feels some kind of way over being blocked after all that they've been through. So that's the way that I take it anyway. I don't take it as any kind of harassment, slight, and going down the path of that narrative is a slippery slope, and I don't encourage it, and I don't think IAMSIGHT should be going that route as far as this conversation goes. But it's not over yet, so let's keep going.
That's the part of being in the entertainment business and being in this business. You have to have tough skin and understand that this is not coming from a mean-spirited place. Like I said in the video, this is coming from 10 years of telling these guys, hey, see, you don't understand what's went on in the scene. You only seeing the platform and you're judging it off of, and it's understandable. I'm not mad. I'm just saying, for you have a platform and you know that I'm in the MPC game. You see it. You could have reached out to me and said, hey, Ski Man, what's going on, bro? I don't know you like that, but I want to get to know where some of the energy coming from so I can know. So when you do speak, because I don't mind you speaking on me. I'm public domain. We all public domain. I'm not going to be sensitive towards anybody feeling bad. If they say I blocked them and they post up something, that don't bother me, because if I feel like this is my platform and you on there doing that, just like you do, you take stuff off, you do what you got to do. This is not up. That's not up for debate. What's up for the debate is what we're talking about right now is truthfulness. You're saying stuff that's not truthful. And that's the problem I have. I don't care if you take stuff down because that's your platform. I don't care if how you go about doing stuff. Just be truthful when you speak on me. That's it.
So what I'm saying is on the truthful aspect, can you see how somebody in my position, if I see you taking a member of the community, putting a clown nose on them, putting a bozo wig on them, sharing that they blocked you in different platforms, do you think it's reasonable for me to come to the conclusion that person's being harassed, is what I'm asking you? No,
it's not, because this is why I'm saying no, it's not, because if I'm in your group, right, and I post beats up there and people liking it and they're like, oh man, that's dope, ski boom boom, and I mean, shit, I don't even have to be in y'all gang. I'm in there because I love the MPC just like y'all love the MPC. So we're a community, am I right? So if I do what I do because it's something else going on internally away from what y'all doing, and you choose it down, that's fine. But for you to make an assumption on why I did it, that's your assumption, and you don't have no facts of that. So you have no rights to be able to speak on something you don't know. You're just assuming. Your job as a moderator or whatever you do is to try to get the facts so you don't mislead your people. That's all you're supposed to do, is get the facts. And you had access to be able to reach out to me, say, hey, Ski, I've been seeing some of your posts, but what's going on? Boom, boom, boom. And I would have told you what was going on, because this is internal of what's been going on for 10 years with Akai, on the lies, on them, saying, making me look bad to the people that I'm telling stuff like, it's stuff that's personally I want to tell you that I can't tell you because I did an NDA with these guys.
Now, E-A Ski here is articulating a very specific point, and the history between him and Akai goes all the way back, signing NDAs and everything like that. You're talking, what he's saying, a 10-year relationship. It's pretty clear where the problem lies and what the issue is here. And for me, personally, I just think it's a bit of a misunderstanding when it comes down to it. But I'm glad these guys hash this out, as men should do in these situations here.
This is way more deeper than what you can even imagine. But I don't expect you to know that. But what I do expect is for you to always, before you attack and go into saying anything, just be truthful. Because I don't mind if you be truthful and you say, hey, I don't know why Andy blocked him, boom, boom, boom. You know what I'm saying? It might be because maybe this or this and that. But to say, you said it like it was factual.
Yeah.
And that's not the fact.
Well, let me clear it up. All right. So I again, just to clear up what I said, I didn't know why Andy blocked you. You know, I wasn't clear on that. But it is very reasonable for me to assume you were harassing him based on what you did, bro. That's all.
I didn't harass him. So I want to go back.
I feel that's how you feel about it. But I'm saying as an outsider looking in, that's what it looks like to most people.
What it looks like to me is that y'all have a relationship with Andy. It looks like that he supports. Let me just say this. Let me finish. He has been empowering y'all. I've seen him do a thing, say, hey, shout out to the MPC gang. This is the reason why you have a MPC XSE, because he's trying to facilitate all of these people, and he's trying to use these content people. He's not even giving it to the real producers that really have made impact. He's doing content creator. I get it. You have every right to do whatever you want to do with your brand. But what I'm trying to say is that when you have an alliance with somebody, you felt like it was your place to try to stick up for what you thought I was doing to this guy without being able to have a conversation with me about what's going on internally. And that's where I feel you went wrong, because at the end of the day, I can say whatever I want to say anytime I want to say it. And you have every right to say, you know what, I don't want to put that on this platform. That's fine. But what I do on my YouTube and what I do on my page to let people know what's going on and to let people know this is what's going on, that's what I do. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I'm going to continue to do what I need to do.
And I respect that, bro. I really do. At the end of the day, you know, I definitely could have reached out to you first before even mentioning your name. And it was brought up in the comments. It doesn't excuse it. Normally I stay away from bringing people's name up in anything other than praise, because it's just kind of, you know, it's just kind of how it was brought up. You know, you don't bring people up unless you have something nice to say about them. So, you know, again, bringing your name up in the show, you know, I hope it came across to people that the respect level was there. You know, obviously you're a hip hop legend, you're a producer legend. You know, one of the tenets of hip hop culture is respect the architects, right? Like respect the legends. So, you know, I want everybody to be clear on that. There was never a lack of respect for E-A Ski on my behalf.
But let me just say this though, I just want to say this. I hear what you're saying, and I feel you, but that's an oxymoron. It's not a lack of respect, but it's disrespect, because what it is that you can't respect me in the same breath and then say stuff because you don't know me. If you don't know me, you can't say anything about me. You shouldn't even have fixed your mouth to say anything about a person you don't know. You know, your assumptions is what got us to why we having this conversation, because you can't respect me and then tear me down at the same time. Oh, well, you know, look at Bolo and this and that. If you look at Bolo's page, Bolo was the first dude with integrity that when I made the post about what was going on with Akai, he said, man, you know what, Ski got a point. He made a retraction after he was promoting the SE, saying, man, Ski got some great points, you know, and I want to be truthful about the Akai, and that is not something, like, he's the only one that stepped up and had integrity as a man to keep it on the 100. Even though he got free gear, he was still being said, Ski got a point. So at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying, this is about, you can't respect me and disrespect me in the same sentence, because that's what you was doing. And that's how, and it's offensive, because either you respect me and don't and keep it with respect and have a conversation with me, or either you don't respect me, because that's an oxymoron to respect me and then say, oh, well, why don't he make some videos and do this and he could be teaching people that. That's what I do, bro. What do you think this is on my shirt? This is analog music. I teach people every day. You, just like you said, you don't follow my Instagram. You don't follow. I don't really post on YouTube because I'm making records. I'm working on 2 Netflix documentaries. I'm working on a new Ice Cube album. I got too much stuff. I can't do what y'all do. I don't do music for a hobby. You said that you do other stuff away from music. You maybe do real estate, if I'm not mistaken, right? So that means that you don't do music on the level that I do music. I do this for real. Okay, so my point is, I'm not playing with these companies that you do other stuff away from music. You maybe do real estate, if I'm not mistaken, right? So that means that you don't do music on the level that I do music. I do this for real. Okay, so my point is, I'm not playing with these companies, man. Like I've been a part of Akai. I've gave them part of my life. I've took time from my family to help develop some of the stuff that they're doing.
Now, this is a part where a few people get upset over when he says that I do this for real in comparison to somebody who's not doing it full-time. To IAMSIGHT, this is a part-time gig. He does other stuff as his main source of revenue. E-A Ski, it's a completely different ball game. Everything that he does is all this music thing, this music production thing. Everything that he does, everything that he is, there's the difference. There's the discrepancy, you know. So people getting offended over him saying that I do this for real, he's not implying that those who do it less are fraudulent by any means. He's just saying that every single little bit of his lifeblood is invested into this. He doesn't have any other side gigs that he's doing. This is it. That's a different level of playing than those who are not doing it full time and have other streams of revenue that they're making income on as their primary source. Now, I don't think that he's meaning this as a slight to anybody else that's doing it less than he's, but there's just two levels of playing here.
I'm not going to take away from my family. The first thing you said before you got on here is that you was doing something for your family. It took you a little bit longer. Family is important, right?
Yeah.
Being a musician, when I take time from my family, I'm not playing no games, bro. This ain't a game to me. I've been doing music since I was 14, bro. I live off music, bro. I don't have after I get off the phone, I'm not going to put on the janitor hat and start sweeping. And I'm not about to start getting and doing some other stuff. Everybody want to talk about music, but they don't really do music. You
get real hype, bro. Let's
No, I'm getting hyped.
No, I'm saying let's bring it down to earth a little bit.
I'm getting hyped only because I'm passionate, bro.
I'm
passionate. I'm passionate, and that's why the whole Andy thing gets me where I have to be passionate. But even with the Andy thing, and if you see the video, I'm still not cussing. I'm not using profanity. I'm talking very, very, articulating very well my concerns on what's been going on with Akai for over the last 10 years on why this product is not getting to what we talked about. And so if you be with a company for 10 years, bro, and they've been lying and 10 years coming, all of a sudden your life is going by, your family, you're giving them time, and then all of a sudden you like, they just basically just saying the hell with you. So, bro, when you're dealing with a company internally and you don't know that, then you got to get the information on what's going on. I'm not just talking about Akai from just an Akai point. I'm talking about the fact that I was part of their development, and I'm on the machine, on the first machine that they put out that went hybrid. This is facts.
In the end, I think that's what all this comes down to. It's just a misunderstanding between two people and the behind-the-scenes stuff of what really went on versus the perception of reality here. Now, I'm not going to play and go through the entire interview here. Again, the links are in the description, so we're just going to move on to the next thing here.
For sure, I'm humble, man. I appreciate you being a real one that want to have this, because some people, they just like, man, I don't want no confrontation. I just don't want to say nothing about it because people, they're passive aggressive. They can say stuff and then they do, like, I appreciate you because this is tough to do. Some people have a hard time having this type of dialogue. We're showing people way more than just what we're talking about.
Yeah.
We actually, what we're doing is showing people way more than this whole Akai thing and what I'm talking about. We're showing people we can have a real conversation and fix situations and make some corrections so we can move forward.
Yeah, man.
That's
respect comes before a lot. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So once there's respect established, a lot of things can happen. So, I hope that was conveyed in our conversation and just this whole thing. So appreciate you, Ski. Once again, appreciate the audience. We're going to sign off on that note.
So that's the conversation here, not only between IAMSIGHT and E-A Ski, but along with the MPC XSE conversation, the Akai conversation, the MPC conversation, and things moving forward and exactly what we are going to do as a community. Once again, if you go to Akai's main page over here, you click on company, you go to About Us, it goes directly to About In Music and Jack O'Donnell. O'Donnell. So the person that Roger Lynn was so affectionately speaking about earlier at the beginning of the video, this is the person that we're talking about, and the history of everything that is in music when it comes down to their products, the timeline, and the stuff that they're involved in as far as their history goes. So looking around in the InMusic website, they have a list of their products here, and it's not just Akai Professional. They also have Alesis, a few others here, Den and DJ. They have the M Audio, Newmark, a few of the others, Rain, they have Stanton. So it's not just Akai Professional here that they have as far as brands are concerned. So I guess the big question here is, how much authority does InMusic actually have over Akai and their product line of development? When it comes down to all this other stuff, how much decision making is InMusic making versus the Akai Professional team? Now, I need to mention here that I'm not MPC gang currently. I do have my history with Akai and having MPCs in the past, and going to be in the market in the future for either an MPC or a machine, whichever one is going to be more beneficial to my next upcoming projects. But as far as us as a community, as a music production community, we all have a vested interest into making sure these companies do better. It's not just Akai. As a flagship Phantom owner, I can tell you right now that they are not the only company with issues. If you like this type of content, make sure you leave a comment down below, like, subscribe, and all that other jazz, and we're just going to keep pushing it here. Again, salute to IAMSIGHT and E-A Ski for being able to hash this out like men in a public forum, like we should do as a community every time some discrepancies like this come up in the future. Until then, take care, everybody. Love y'all. Peace.